it really astonishes me that you can meet someone who tells you, Celwyn, you're such an amazing person. If only you are helpless.
In a nutshell.
If only you are helpless and I needed to feed you and clothe you and house you, then you'd be
the perfect match.
You'd be perfect. I think that's psychotic.
That's very good. My number one vice that we have plagued, I know both men and women, but right now I'm speaking for women.
Yeah.
We wait for a savior.
There is the context of what nature designed, which is ideal, maybe. Then there's the reality of the world we live in and the challenges that presents and what you need to navigate. Because you still need to navigate the real world. And the real world is a lot harsher.
It is. It truly is.
Guys, I'm so excited to be talking to you today on the Healthier and Wealthier Life podcast. If you've joined us, this is our very first episode, and this is really an unscripted podcast for people to hear authentic ideas and authentic opinions on how they can enrich and why they should actually enrich their own health and their own wealth, right? My name is Christabel. I am your host, and I'm the founder of a nonprofit organization called Dada Concern. And in this organization, we primarily work with teenage mothers in the rural setting and being in the face of young girls who are from struggling families and struggling themselves, having a child, and hoping that a man will come and provide the basics that are required for survival. I really, really could see that it is urgent for women to take it seriously and make their own money. So I'm very passionate about women creating wealth, making good bank, and that's what our conversation is going to be about. Today, I have a very energetic, exciting, passionate guest with me. She's going to be introducing herself shortly, and our discussion today is really breaking the stereotype, the negative stereotype around an independent woman. But before then, let's hear from our guest and who she is.
Thank you so much, Christabel. Now that the standards have been set about energy, by example, I have to keep up. So my name is Celwyn Kazi. I am the founder of a podcast called Soul X-Ray. Just like the name suggests, literally, it's about dissecting the soul and getting to the bottom of all illnesses and then dealing with them and then moving on with a clean slate. So aside from that, which I'll get into more details as we go on, I am also a very passionate Rotarian. I'm a member of the Rotary Club. I don't know whether you're familiar with the Rotary Club.
Yeah.
For our listeners and viewers who are not very familiar with it, it's an international charitable organization that basically seeks to improve the lives of everyone in need. Everyone, and I mean everyone. Rotary is one big global family. I am very keen to share with you. We have something called the 4-way test in my Rotary. So the 4-way test are basically guiding principles that all Rotarians are first taught the first thing you join Rotary. And then immediately you will see for yourself that this is what I've been living by. I just didn't know it exists. So the first principle is it the truth? So this is how the 4-way test starts. Let me start. Of the things we think, say, or do, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? And I think that's in line with our conversation today because as women, are we truthful? Are we fair to all concerned? Are we building goodwill and better friendships? And are we beneficial to all concerned? So I'm looking forward to interacting with you today about this.
I like the last one especially. Are we beneficial to all concerned? Because, guys, I think I start us off with a post that I saw on Instagram, and it really rang true for me. And it was posted by a lady, and it said, as a woman, I cannot tell women enough to get rich. Financially unstable women are treated badly everywhere, even in the families they marry into. Take it seriously to make your own money. And for me, I read that and I felt, whoever came up with the idea that a woman can be financially unstable and find security and comfort and everything we seek as humans in our life, it was a flawed idea, right?
Pause. So let me ask you, before we even come to whoever came up with that, why do you think it was necessary to disempower women in the first place? Why do you think that was a necessary thing in society?
What I can think of is financial ability is very closely related to your emotional and your mental boundaries. The autonomy of those boundaries will dance very closely tied to your financial ability. Right?
You've said
so,
it.
What I can say is, if you need, and I think let's put some context, right,
Yes.
to independent woman. When I think of an independent woman, it's not in the sense that you're in a corporate world, you're chasing, I don't know, to be CEO, C-suite,
Yes.
whatever.
Corporate ladder.
Corporate ladder or anything like that. I really think of someone who is passionate about something. It could be sports, it could be cooking, it could be architecture. You're passionate about something. You got skilled in what you're passionate about, and the passion and the skills translates to an ability to provide your basics, which is food, shelter, and clothing.
Mm-hmm.
So you can give something to the world, and for what you give, the world gives you something, and you're able to feed yourself, clothe yourself, and house yourself. And when I think of living things, plants and animals, from birth, something is put in you to help you survive.
It's intrinsic.
Yes. So that is what I call an independent woman, a woman who can provide the survival basics for herself. All right? So for me, that is why the negativity surprises me. It really astonishes me that you can meet someone who tells you, Celwyn, you're such an amazing person. If only you are helpless.
In a nutshell.
If only you were helpless and I needed to feed you and clothe you and house you, then you'd be
the perfect match.
You'd be perfect. I think that's psychotic.
That's wild. That's a wild animal's behavior. How do you explain that?
How do you fall in love with somebody because they were helpless? It is insane.
It's a complex. It's a medical complex. Make it make sense. That for me to love you, I need you to be a damsel. For me to apply in your life, you need to need me in a very helpless way.
And you bring in the thing of value. I have value to add to your life when you can do nothing for yourself. And I think that is really diminishing the capability of a human being. A human being, by design of being alive, provides the basics for themselves.
That's true.
So then I have to look at you. I have to understand who you are. I have to understand who you want to become, what you want to achieve. And then I have to understand, where does my value come in? Because truth be told, we are 8 billion people in the world. Mm-hmm. Not 8 billion will add value to your life. Mm-hmm. There can actually be and not because they're bad people, there can be an awesome human being. They're very nice. There's just no value.
That's true.
Because of what you want and because of how they execute. Who knows, or who they are, right? So you don't have to strip someone of their innate power,
yes,
to find the space of what becomes your value. I really think that is wrong. Mm-hmm. It's a terrible mindset, yes, actually. And what pains me, though, is that as women, we do buy into it.
Yes. Yes, Christabel.
And for some reason, we were having a chat before we started recording this, and we said, when a woman makes a next move, could be a business move, career move, whatever move, you make a move forward, you will not lack a comment, yes, that reminds you of how this threatens your suitability to the male gender.
Yes, your potential to be a wife, you know.
Yes.
Allow me to take it back because I believe, and I like that you keep bringing up context. I believe context is really important in such conversations, again, to also prevent us from just throwing around words that are commonly used in such conversations.
Yeah.
So now I want to take it back to why there was a point in time, truly, how the society was set up. It was very necessary for women to rely on men fully. Yeah?
Yeah.
And I'm talking about the changing times. When we take it back, if we are to go back, our forefathers and foremothers, our great-grandparents. So women in society, we had so many limitations already. Unfortunately, we are born disadvantaged in terms of the limitations as a woman. So back then, I would imagine women could not purchase land, you know?
True.
Women could not have property.
Couldn't inherit property.
Couldn't
open a bank account.
Continue. You know
women
them. Yes.
could not register
Exactly.
in institutions of higher learning.
Exactly. You know? And truly, with those limitations, I mean, she's confined by default to depending on that man. Okay?
Yeah.
Walk with me.
Okay.
So we now proceed to Naendelea, and now we are now, I'm skipping now generations. I'm coming now to conversations of, now men are the ones nowadays who bring these conversations that I want a 2-salary household. Okay? Yeah. So now, and I'm not faulting anyone. It's true. Vitu ni ngumu. Things
you need 2 incomes.
Yes. You do need 2 incomes. So, but then, kumbuka, in the same context, I am not living in the times my grandmothers did. Okay?
Yeah.
So, mimi nitaamka sai in the times that we live as women, tutaenda, tutatafuta. We will come back to that house with our income.
Yeah.
Sindio?
Yeah.
So now, the capacity ya huyu mwanaume, hapo sasa ndio kasheshe inaanza kuingia. Mimi nimeleta. Yeah? Unataka nilete nusu. I will not ask that question what you bring to the table. That's very controversial.
Yeah.
But wewe unataka nilete nusu. Na wewe ulete nusu yako.
Yeah.
Na we are husband and wife.
Yeah.
We proceed. I'll do my part. I'll sire the children. Nitawaleta. I'll do my part. Now, as a parent, I'm a parent. I'm a mommy of an 11-year-old boy. And I can tell you for a fact, from experience, I have seen there are things that are innately designed for children and mothers. It's not excluding the dad, it's nature.
Yeah.
I'll give an example. My baby wakes up with fever usiku. In a 2-parent household, atakimbilia nani?
The mom.
By default. And there are rare cases, of course. Some children are very close bonded with their dads, but that's 1 in a million who will naturally go to the dad.
Yeah.
Unanipata? Yeah. So nature already predisposes women to have a level of responsibility in a household that can't be compensated for or even assisted.
Women are primary caregivers. I always say this, like the 50-50 split, we wish it existed. Women are primary caregivers.
I wish it existed.
Yes. So
I wish it was possible.
This is one thing we make peace with. Women are primary caregivers in a lot of households. And it's not because the world is broken, the system is broken. No. Somehow nature operates like this. And
You're
it's
right.
okay.
You're right.
Yeah.
So we proceed. Now it becomes, for us, we are primary caregivers, like you've said. Now I'm in this household. I'm bringing in income, nusu. I am still doing my part as a wife, as a mother, as a sister, as a whatever. And it's interesting. Let me just nitoke nje kidogo. I had a conversation with a colleague at work the other day, and he asked me a very simple question. Celwyn, do you think what has more meaning in life and more value if a woman and man meet and when they're young and build together and build that life and build an empire, whatever, you name it, or the woman joins halfway when the man is established already and now takes it up from there? What makes sense to you, Celwyn? And now I'll pose that question to you. Shall I repeat it?
So a man and a woman meet at the beginning of everything. They're kind of at the start of the journey.
Yes. Leveled playing ground.
And they build together.
Yes, together.
Okay. And in this, and the other scenario is the man has kind of gone some way on the journey. Then the woman comes in,
and he's established, unampata.
And is he still building? Are they moving forward, or him is kind of like nimefika?
No. Now the question was, of course, mtasonga, you'll build.
Yeah.
So the question was, which one has more value in a marriage? And I am so happy to talk about this. Because
interesting, yeah.
It was very interesting. I understood where he was coming from with this question and the conversation.
The way I would see it, and I try to think of myself. If I was young, and I met a very young man, the thing is, both of us as a couple, maybe you don't have that safety net, right? So I'm going to think, the way my brain works, I'll think about, let's build first. I wouldn't, for example, be talking about family. I'm like, we don't really have what it takes to be in a comfortable position for a family. So let's establish some goals. Let's work at it first, and then let's see where we are in 5 years. But then you need to have a very unified mission. You need to have a unified goal of where you're going to. So I would think build first and then start from there. I feel like it will take, two people working together with very good unified goals and what they do, they can really build considerably in, say, 10 years, in a decade. Now, in the case where I meet someone who's already established, the point is you already have some kind of safety net because of what your partner has built. Part of the build work has been done. This is the real difference. Now, you have a kind of a starting point that's kind of advanced, and you start to build together. The second scenario has considerable advantage, right? Because
I like where this is going.
Because somebody focused on that build piece, and if it's men, to be honest, they really can concentrate. Like, I want to build this in this amount of time, and they just build and build and build. So that build part got very high concentration, very high effort from someone. And then you come in, and this is why they say it's very important who you marry. Regression can happen very quickly, depending on the person who comes, right? And to both genders.
Yes.
A man can come and regression happens. A woman can come, regression happens. So let's say on this case, it's going well. You marry someone who's fantastic. You continue to build again. So you have a safety net, and you're building on top of that. And you can definitely have your family conversation because you do have a good foundation.
Yes.
So that, for me, has considerable advantage depending on the partner you brought in. And then you go much further, in my opinion.
Okay, good.
Yeah. You
walked right into it. You walked right into the center of it. He brought up a very interesting mindset, yes, that is well popularized and normalized and absorbed in society and cultures. And it's sort of silent and unspoken. The woman who joins a man who's already well established becomes one of his assets. Walk with me.
Okay.
According to him. Not my words.
Oh, on this, and this is a man talking, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
It's
Don't
interesting.
shoot the messenger.
Okay.
So becomes one of his assets, as opposed to a woman who builds with him from scratch, now has earned it. Okay? Wait.
Okay.
Bado.
Okay.
Wait. So this woman who has been acquired as an asset, and the one who has built pamoja, you can see how they're being accorded.
The respect the respect you're given has been differentiated.
And now, which just triggered me into thinking, as a man, I asked him, why is it important for you, for your woman to struggle alongside you, for her to have any worth and value in your eyes? Yeah? And there's a reason why I brought up the conversation of me doing my part in terms of raising children, things that you could never do. Unfortunately, or fortunately, I strongly believe nature assigns us gender roles. Nature. Let me
Okay. I'm
not in a
not.
very wide prospect. Don't even overthink it.
Yes.
In terms of mom, dad,
Yes.
man, woman. I can even spice it up a bit and dive into religion,
Yeah.
and say how, the good holy books will go ahead and assign some roles as well.
Yeah.
When Adam and Eve were cast and punished, Eve, you will childbear with a lot of pain.
Yeah.
Man, utatafuta, utachoka, ndio upate na mkule. Unaelewa? So those roles are there. Now, I could not for the life of me comprehend why I still need to do my part as a woman, which I will do without any assistance, because by default, you cannot assist me in some things.
Yeah.
Now, you, where it's allocated, you're supposed to provide and protect. I have to come and build that providence and protection with you from the ground up for me to have value. Christabel, are you following me?
There are tons of perspective on everything you raise, which is a valid point.
Okay.
So let me go back to the roles that nature assigns. There's two things. First, yes, women give birth. Until today, no man bore the baby, right?
Binary.
So it's a woman, you might even say the responsibility that we have to maintain the human race. We execute it and nobody can help us.
Yes.
Fine. Now, the difference comes in, I think nature by design created something that works. The moment you have a baby, you will need to clothe that baby, you will need to house that baby.
Ensure survival.
And to feed. So that is why two people make a child and one person is not pregnant while the other one is pregnant. Somebody needs to find resources and that are going to take care of that offspring.
True.
Now, while that is the ideal situation, we are living in a less than ideal world. And this is where the problem comes. The thing is, first, not in I'm talking about a heterosexual partnership or marriage. The assumption is that both partners value what it takes to raise a child and to have a child and to be a parent. But what I see is that even between couples, they tend to not have the same level of appreciation and value. So if you have a partner, you are the woman, you've gotten the babies, you're spending your energy, time, effort going into raising the children, yet that is something that is not striking your partner as of high value. You're sitting there working hard and it looks like you're doing nothing. You only raise children. What do you do? What do you bring? You're getting... So what is really consuming you, and fairly so, is diminished. So before a woman has even thinks of saying, you know what, I'm really contributing a lot. I'm taking care of the kids. Of course, I sired the kids, It has to be valued in that union.
Yes.
Otherwise, you're fighting for something that is not valued.
So why
Right?
can't that be my question? You've said it so well. That input that a woman gives, why can't it be equated to the same journey a man goes through to build his life? Why does it have to seem like, okay, you do that, but then also partake in building this with this man? Why can't it be that woman who chooses,
Yeah.
let me speak on maybe a housewife who has no other,
Yes.
that's her job.
It's a big contribution.
I
For me,
honestly
in a
feel
family
so.
setting, if a woman is taking care of the kids, their homework is done, they're in order, they're in school, that is a huge contribution,
We're on the
in
same
my
page.
opinion. It's really huge. But what I've seen play out, and that for me is an ideal situation as well. I wish it were true. I wish it was how the world ran.
Yeah.
But then I come back to reality, and as you say, what's going to happen? This man who you're staying home and spending your time and energy raising the kids for is going to go out and is going to interact with the women who are chasing their bag, and it's going to go like, that's a woman too. And ask, do you have kids? Yeah, I have 2 kids. And she's still building something, and she's still doing something, not because she has to, but it's because this is what gives her drive, gives her passion. Remember, there are also women who are taking care of kids every day, all day. and this is what I do, that doesn't really energize me. I really need to also build something, create something, do something that I love. Maybe I love baking bread. So I want to take care of my kids, but I want to bake the best bread and build an empire of a
Yes.
bakery. And that for me is where my passion comes, where my energy comes. So what then happens? It becomes a comparison equation.
Yes.
How come this other one just takes care of kids the whole day? And you talked about the respect
Yeah.
now
in difference
changing.
starts breeding.
Right?
Yeah.
So for me, it comes down to also honesty. If as a woman, what gives me energy, what I believe makes an independent woman is what being in your zone of strength. That's what I call it. So if what puts me in my zone of strength is taking care of my children, concentrating on that, then this is the kind of partnership I'm going to seek. I'm going to seek partnership with a male person who values children, who values them being taken care of and raised by their, mainly by their one parent. And for them, that is a very strong contribution. And we built our union around that.
Yeah.
And there are partnerships that exist like that.
And they
But the
work.
problem is taking this blueprint and trying to make it your blueprint everywhere, across everyone you meet.
That's
It's
true.
not going to work. It's going to be
That's
a
true.
disaster. Because speaking for myself as well, if I met a guy and he said, you need to take care of the kids full time, stay home, I will do everything. And it's a nice person. Let's say this person is awesome. That is not what gives me energy. I'm not going to get energy from that, maybe a week or two.
Yeah.
I'm not going to enjoy
It's not
it.
you.
I need to, I love children, I love being present, I love participating, but I love building things. I love creating things.
Yeah.
I love seeing other things, that I've done as well. Because there is also, I find myself to be the kind of person who also goes like, what did I do just for me? Not for my spouse, not for my children, just for me. And that is the stuff that I create, right? So it also comes down to what gives that human energy and passion, because there's only one kind of good parent I found. The parent who is energized, who is inspired, who is passionate,
Motivated.
who is motivated. That is the kind of parent that is amazing.
Yes.
And you need to be in your personality.
Yes.
You need to be in you
Yes.
to bring that out,
Yes.
right?
Do you know why that's the best kind of parent? It's because children copy.
Yeah.
They emulate. So whatever energies you're bringing, that's what they will emulate and grow up.
Energy
with.
is spread.
So wait, there's a conundrum here, Christabel. So I've met personally, I have met guys who are very well exposed, very well educated, and probably in their years of settling down.
Yeah.
And they have approached me and they have described all the qualities that I check the boxes,
Right.
And I've noted a very interesting thing. My independence is usually among the first things, my financial independence, to be brought up.
That creates discomfort.
No, not discomfort. It's commendable in that context. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's very commendable, very admirable.
Yeah.
And I can. There's a backbone of a comparison to women who are not, just like you said, as probably as empowered, unfortunately. Yeah. So now, this same man who appreciates that about me, that I have broken out of some barriers, and, I've gone out there and fed myself.
Yeah.
That same man will tell me, as we're talking about settling down, he'll be like, but si utapika bado? Utapika. Si mtoto
I like it. I like
you
it,
get
but
where I'm going.
I
Yes.
like it, but
you get it.
Yeah.
So now inakuwa sasa the independence naenda kutafuta huko nje ya maybe being a corporate person or a business woman or anything.
Yeah.
Hiyo haitoshi. Nikikuja nyumbani, there are still expectations that I have to do as a wife.
Interest, because I've always had people say, you can be the CEO you are out there, but then when you come back, you're a wife and a mother.
Can we just go into what that means? Ideally,
what is that?
Let me tell you, Christabel. Ideally, what that should mean is just come, do what you can at home. Unaona, to me, ideally, you're a wife, you're a mom, come do what you can. But what's happening right now is they want us to go back and adopt our grandparents' policies of
Oh,
the
I
woman.
need to become my grandma.
Yes.
At home.
Yes.
For me, that's insane because, and I feel like that's a little bit of double standard, usually that statement, because the reality of being a CEO out there, if I were a CEO, sometimes it is exhausting. Sometimes it is draining. Sometimes after I've been a CEO in the day, I actually have no resources left, not emotional, not mental,
even physical.
not physical. I'm actually going to be the wife who walks in through the door, says, hello, everybody, takes a glass of juice or wine or whatever drink that you take, and I sit in a corner silently. I am not going to scrub up the dishes. I am not going to
cook up some onions, some last minute caramelized onions.
And say that I left my CEO-ness at the door and now I've walked in and I'm my grandma. I think that's a fallacy. I think the reality of being...
How do we connect those two realities, Christabel?
Yes.
How do we connect them in...
This, for me, you need a new reality. If a woman is a CEO and a wife and a mother, a new reality that involves being those three things shows up. And you better embrace that reality if you truly want to be happy. And this is where the point where you meet a woman and, okay, I see that you're very accelerated career-wise and you're passionate about what you're doing. And you also want to be a wife and you also want to be a mother. But then for me, maybe I really want someone who is accelerated on the family side and slow down on the professional side. And that's okay. That's your preference. And for sure, there's someone who is happy being like that. So you have to find the person that is for you.
How do you find the person that is for you? When you're talking about such conversations, do you just bring it up during a lunch date that, hey, I am not a domesticated woman as you know, per your expectations, probably. I'm more of a business person. I'm more of, you know, outside nyumbani. I may not be able to. Are these conversations you have over coffee, or do you let it play out and see how do you go about it?
Two things. One is you cannot have, I really think it's impossible to have a rich, fulfilling connection with a partner or even your friends if you're not as self-aware, right? So you've got to know yourself.
Yes.
Once you know yourself, you've got to own your truth. I've seen the world has come a long way, and now there are women who say, I'm not interested in having children. Still, some frowning upon does happen, to be fair. I think people go like, really? Are you sure? Did some disaster, happen to you? But I think that is part of owning your truth, right? And you cannot find someone who is for you if you don't own your truth. Maybe it makes it more difficult to find, but you have to zone out of this scarcity mindset.
Yes.
I always say come out of the scarcity mindset.
Yes.
Not everyone you meet is going to be good for you.
Yes.
Not everyone you meet is going to be for you. Not every great person. You're like that, but they're so great. Only they want someone who doesn't work and stay home. Coffee dates is the place for these conversations. It's not about what colors I like, what meal I like, who cares? It's about who are you? And is there a chance for a future that involves the both of who we are?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So for me, it's to share who I am, what gives me energy, what drives me, what excites me, what makes me a human that can inspire other humans, especially if you're interested in having children and a family, right? Like I am, then I know that potentially other humans will show up in my life that I need to inspire, that I need to motivate. So I cannot play outside my zone of strength.
Yes.
Otherwise, I'm going to be the depressed, hammered, tired, exhausted parent who doesn't inspire something great, right?
That's
so, and I also want to know who you are, because I don't want you to come into my life and suddenly for you to be there, the person steps outside their zone of strength and they're tired, they think they made a mistake, they're exhausted, they're depleted, and you don't inspire anything great. So to be able to inspire something great, we both have to play in our zones of strength.
Yes.
you cannot form a partnership without
Yes.
finding who you are and really connect with somebody else who knows who they are.
Yes. I read a quote to that effect, to literally sprinkle some sugar on it. You have to be yourself at any given point so that whatever is seeking you can find you sooner.
Yes.
Because if you think about it, the more your other versions that are not authentically you, the more you're attracting the phonies that are really matching that vibration.
Yes, they're not authentically them
Yes,
either.
exactly. They're not them. So be you sooner so that it can find you sooner.
So getting back to why should women see having their own wealth, and I'm not saying you have to be the billionaire. You just have to be fulfilled, secure for yourself with what you make. And why I think that for me is important is I'm yet to find a single human who, when they're passionate about something and they do what they love and they celebrate themselves, they don't make money.
That's true.
I am yet to see
possible.
it is not possible. The minute you celebrate yourself, you love what you do.
It's a cheat code.
The minute you share what you love with the universe rewards that in cash.
Yes. No, that's true. Oh my God, repeat that. Repeat that.
So the minute you are passionate about something, you celebrate yourself and you share what you celebrate about yourself and what you're passionate about with the universe rewards it in cash. So for me as a woman and really as a human, if you don't have these basics of survival, have a look. Do you care about what you're passionate about? Do you care about celebrating yourself? Because to be honest, I can raise children full time. And if I'm passionate about it, if this is what I celebrate about myself, and I share with people how
money.
I raise my children, how that gives me joy, how that gives me fulfillment, and I share that passion with the universe, it's going to convert to currency.
Absolutely.
In the most surprising, astonishing, unexpected ways, it's going to convert. Because passion in the world is rewarded.
Wow.
That is just the way it is. So for me, why it's, I say make money, but the goal here is not money. The goal here is celebrate yourself. And then share what you celebrate about yourself with the universe that we live in.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And also one other thing that really for me became critical in this thing of women caring about making their own money is the young girls. Young girls just look at the older girls and pick up from there what they think about themselves, where they would want to go. And you talked about our forefathers and foremothers. In that world where women stayed, and remember those women, not all of them wanted to stay home full time. A lot of them felt that there is no alternative. A lot of them felt forced.
Yes.
So they were not energized women. They were not inspired. They were not driven. They were surviving women. And when young girls look at that, I mean, where do we put them? So for me also as a woman, thinking about going after yourself and making your own money is about where am I putting the young girls? Okay. And there is a contribution to that.
Yes.
Because for me, I feel like build something for yourself. And today, Celwyn, if you decided that you want to stay home full time, it's a snap of the finger and you switch it.
That's true.
But imagine if it was the reverse. If you had stayed home full time all your life and now you wanted to build something for yourself.
You can't just snap into that. No.
You can't
snap. It doesn't
snap.
work like that.
It does not operate like that. So there is the context of what nature designed, which is ideal, maybe. Then there's the reality of the world we live in and the challenges that presents and what you need to navigate. Because you still need to navigate the real world. And the real world is a lot harsher.
It is. It truly is.
So, and navigating the world without finances.
Yes. So this is the thing. I feel like you've asked a very important question. The children, the younger girls, where do we put them? You know, because they have us to see and we have the older ones to see. I feel like there's hope, number one, because times are changing. And I remember at some point, a girl would grow up and, all she'd envision was a fairy tale white wedding.
Yeah.
Those were very rampant conversations.
Yeah.
But that was then.
Yes.
Yeah. So right now, I just don't see it happening that way. I don't see more women, more girls are growing up to understand that they are independent people. They are complete as they are.
Yes.
And they don't need to be attached to someone's rib now to be complete. Okay?
Yes.
So now there's that as a saving grace
Yes.
for us. In that we are no longer now aspiring just to be wives and married women
become
and
complete.
homemakers. Yeah. We are now delving into our own passions, like you said. So I
Yeah.
think there's a lot of hope there.
And you bring up the topic of completion. We've come a long way, but it hasn't gone away. Because sometimes someone will get to know you, you'll be like, okay, I've done this, I've built this, I run this business, and I work with this charity, and I do this. And then they will be happy for all of that, and then the golden question will come, but are you married? I receive that. I would average it to per day,
If I had a
360,
dime,
365
if I
days
got
a year.
a dime for every time, forget even about that. Even nowadays, getting a simple compliment from a man will be tied to unakaa vizuri, but wewe ukosi uko na mtu.
Yes.
What do you mean?
Yes.
Like me kukaa vizuri has to be tied to being with someone.
Yeah.
It's a scam.
And this is the idea of completion.
It's a scam.
And what I would like to say is, I think women need to rebrand the narrative. The first life that you should absolutely love and enjoy is the life of you by yourself. And I found that it was tough to actually learn to be comfortable in that. In my single days, I really had to learn that you need to love your life by yourself. And this is when you get to know who you are. What do you like to experience? How do you like to live? That life when you've enjoyed it by yourself.
Yes.
And you love it. Now, when you start meeting people, first things, before it becomes about what someone brings to your life,
Yes.
you respect what people love about their own lives.
Yes.
I don't suddenly come and think I'm the golden whatever that you have been waiting for. I'm the one who's now golden goose. I'm the one who's now making your life begin from. No, I need to know that you have loved your life.
Yeah.
That you have enjoyed it. And
that you've
perhaps
given it meaning yourself.
you have given it meaning.
Because devoid of me, you will not have meaning.
Yes.
If I'm the one bringing meaning to your life.
Imagine. So you need to, and I learned the idea of, it's a very boring idea, but there's this thing that they say, very cliche, of become the best version of yourself before you seek other people. And as boring as it sounds, it is for real what people, and especially women, need to do.
Yes.
And when you become the best version of yourself, do you
Yes.
think you're going to have no cash?
Yes.
Do you think you're going to be clothless and foodless
Not
and
a
homeless?
chance.
There's no chance.
Not a chance.
There's no chance. And that, I think, teaches you to respect boundaries. So when someone tells you, I need time, even if we are together, this is something I need to do, this is something I need to do, you know what passion means.
Yes.
You know what drive means.
Yes.
And you respect spaces
Yes.
that people have created for themselves. Even when you're together, when you're dating or you're married, you still respect individualism.
Absolutely.
Because you have experienced it and you have lived it and you know what it means for someone else to come into your space. So for me, I really think we talk about independence, but I think it's not just financial. It's emotional independence. It's mental independence.
There you go.
Besides the financial as well. It's the independence of space and mission.
Yes.
When you are single, when I was single, I could just decide, okay, this Saturday, no, I think I'll go to Mombasa and up and I go.
Yes.
That is independence.
Yes.
Of that decision-making, authority.
Yes.
And when you've lived in that space and you've been an independent person, then you know the trade that is involved in coming together.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
allow me to say this, just to add on to that again, because I feel like I'm just agreeing with everything you're saying.
Yeah.
I love it. Again, there's a lot of hope. Yeah. Gone are the days before. And speak to women in your life, you'll find out that they left their father's house,
Yeah.
transitioned to their husband's house. And I'm telling you, that's a majority.
Ah.
Up
Okay.
until I figured there's a loophole there. Unakabidhiwa from one hand to another. And that's where the autonomy disappears. That's where the sense of independence gets vanished. Inaingizwa kwa carpet za watu.
It becomes a
You get
negative
merged.
thing.
So now, this is the thing. I feel like it is very important. And I remember I had this conversation with a very dear friend of mine some time back. It was about a woman living with a man before getting married. And a woman who leaves her father's house, lives alone, then now
moves in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I feel like those two women, they're very different on a mental scale in terms of liberation and independence. Yeah. It's very important for women now to manage their own space, because how else will you ever know how you can manage your life?
But I can see why men love these women who move from their parents' house.
Humor me.
Because it means you have never, if your parents are the average parent who has some strictness to it, some boundaries of how their home runs and what you can and cannot do, it means you've never operated under the autonomy of your own boundaries.
There we go.
You come from those boundaries and now you come into my boundaries. It's a
confinement.
Yeah.
It's a confinement.
So this woman who's moved out into her own place,
you've broken some barriers.
Umemea tupembe.
Thank you. No, oh my God, you have said it.
Umemea tupembe.
You have said it.
Because you decided what happens. First, you decided on the count of house. You picked the house. You decided how you arrange it. What happens in here? That was your decision. You
furnish it, yeah.
You furnish it. So, umemea tupembe in that whole process.
That's it. That is the whole conversation. So it is really important for women who are now getting to maybe that stage of wanting to get married and all. And even if you don't want to get married, at some point, leave your father's house, ka peke yako as a woman.
It's important.
Find yourself, define your life.
Know yourself.
Know yourself. Know who you are when you're under nobody's supervision.
I think you cannot optimally discover who you are to the end when you're within an umbrella. You can only discover who you are within this umbrella of your parents' house, whoever is limiting you. But when you go live by yourself, when nobody tells you, nobody's checking what you're doing, now the real you will really be visible to you.
Yes.
So it's important. I would say that is something that every woman who's thinking of, okay, I want to start dating, I'm thinking I've been dating this person, we're getting serious. You definitely need that moment where you're driving yourself. Drive yourself. Yeah.
That's true.
So what are your closing thoughts? If you'd say in terms of, and this is a mindset.
Okay.
And both to men and to women, because we live in a world where the genders will continue to interact. We'll always have that. What would you say needs to change first, thinking about women? So let's just focus on the women first. What would you say needs to change in the way we think?
In the way that we think.
Yeah.
As we gear towards independence.
Around this topic of my own money, my own independence.
Very good. Very, very good. My number one vice that we have plagued, I know both men and women, but right now I'm speaking for women.
Yeah.
We wait for a savior.
Waiting for a savior.
Okay? We will, it's like intuition at this point. We feel like something is coming to save me, And I remember, let me tell you, I was in that mindset at some point in my early 20s. I always envisioned how I will get married to a wealthy man, and my laziness was really enabled because I don't have to do anything and I'm well taken care of.
Yeah.
Until realities of life aligned me. You realize, slap left, right, center. Nobody is coming. Nobody. And I stood at that bus stop and buses would just pass me by. And then I was like, wait, I need to get myself to a destination because nobody is carrying me along.
Yeah.
And that's what drove me to thinking for myself, doing for myself, and being myself.
You've painted it so well.
There's no savior.
You get to a bus stop and you think somebody will stop and carry you along. Nobody is going to do that.
Kwanza wana accelerate wakikuona mafuta utachopo na moshi.
Or
nobody's carrying you.
A narcissist might stop.
Hey, we need another session for that conversation. What? Yeah.
I think people need to start, I would say what needs to change in women is when you do something for yourself, taking care of yourself, whether it's wealth-wise, health, when you take care of yourself and you celebrate yourself,
the guilt,
any
the shame.
healthy human would appreciate that. So if you come across someone who is really troubled by the fact that you've done good things
for yourself
and you continue to do good things for yourself,
it's a red flag.
I think that's a massive red flag.
It's a red flag.
That is just a red flag. People out here looking for women that they can control, because controlling a woman is an ego boost. Let's not lie about that. When I know how many women, I know friends, relatives who are in those relationships where a man will open his mouth and tell you, utaenda wapi bila mimi.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And there's just, and you when you started this conversation, the Rotary part, you said, is it beneficial?
To all concerned.
To all concerned. So when you're there, someone really convincing you not to have any finances or any stability for yourself, how is this beneficial to you personally? Where is the benefit? There could be benefits to him. There could be benefits to the children. Where does it leave you?
Yes.
Something needs to be beneficial to all concerned. So I really do love that.
I love the Rotaries coming through. Yeah, that really works.
The Rotaries
really
coming.
It has to be beneficial to all concerned.
To all concerned.
Is it fair?
Yeah, is it fair to all concerned? Because if you're energized by what you're building, what you're creating, the business you're running, is it fair to you to say, quit that because this is now more important and this is what I want you to do? It's not fair. So for me, and also the other mindset that needs to change around that is abundance. You will not lack a partner if you become you. You will not lack, And I think if as women, we think about the abundance and we adopt a mindset of abundance.
Yes.
Of the universe, we will really have no reason not to be the best people that we can be.
That's true.
Because there is always someone who is the best of themselves.
That's true.
And you're appreciated by even better people.
Yes.
So I've never really found the healthy, successful, just really emotionally stable men going out looking for unstable women because those are amazing ones.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen. It's always the ones who tell you, I will take care of you and provide everything. They hardly have enough finances. Mnaenda kungangana. And just
That's
seeing
true.
you, they find you, Celwyn, you are nice and clean and shiny like this.
Yeah.
And 10 years into this journey, umeparara, unangangana, vumbi. And for some reason, making you make this transition really satisfies them. You became, you really became a woman who...
They humbled you.
Yes, you got off your high horse.
They humbled you.
You got off your high horse and now you're a humbled version. I think that is disastrous. And what needs to change in the mindset of men? We interact with men. We don't live in the man's world, but we do interact a lot with the male gender.
Yes.
What needs to change when they meet this narrative that we call an independent woman, who is a woman who's done things for herself and continues to do things for herself?
Yes.
What needs to change?
Oh my God, that is a Pandora's box, because in this particular case, we would need an overhaul in how our men are influenced from birth. Yeah? We would need an overhaul, because one of the reasons these men will have such mindsets is because their egos are so deflated. Unanipata?
They need a boost.
Exactly. And the only way they can feel that importance as a man is to have someone who's underneath them.
So what I can say to that one is, as a man, I understand ego boost. We are humans. Maybe we need it from time to time. Find some aggressive sport. Start paragliding. Something that's gonna pump your ego.
Chew sugar cane. Strengthen your teeth.
If you
do something.
Do something. Go find, but don't use another human for this purpose.
So there's that, where the society will influence that mindset in men.
Yeah.
Where men have very low self-esteem. And I'm telling you, I have met so many men who have tried to humble me.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Because I know you've encountered them too.
Exactly.
They think they'll be the ones to bring you from a pedestal that they created. You didn't even put yourself on that pedestal. They came, compared themselves to you, the insecurities flared, they put you on a pedestal, thought you were better than them. Now they embark on a mission to bring you down.
You paint an interesting reality. You speak an interesting reality, because there is, of course, that there's a woman or a man at everybody's level. There's someone at your level, there's someone at a different level, and you can always meet someone at your level. But there is, for some men, some crazy satisfaction when they bring you down from who you used to be to who you are now. And it's a bring down. There is a strange, very weird, very sick satisfaction that can come from that. Yeah.
That's true.
That's true. So I think what needs to change here is, one thing for all genders is to start seeing independence as positivity. And why? Because independence is something that comes from passion. It's something that comes from celebrating oneself. So independence is really created from a beautiful, fantastic place.
Yes.
And I think you want to be there.
Yes.
As a woman, you want to be there.
You do.
You want to be in a space where you celebrate yourself. It's not about your spouse celebrating you. It's not about your children celebrating you. It's about you celebrating you.
It's not even about how much you have in the bank.
No. It's just about celebrating yourself. And I think that's a beautiful place. I would say every woman wants to be there. Now, when it comes to men looking at women or interacting with women, I think there is a lot of good to meet someone who celebrates themselves. And maybe they trigger you because you don't celebrate yourself.
Yeah, they're reeking of abundance.
Go work on that. I met this woman.
Take it as a challenge.
Who is challenged me with their positivity and their abundance
their
and the
on
creation
life.
and being alive. If being alive challenges you, you have a lot of work to do. I think just take that as feedback, and then you go back and work on why are you not attracted by the feeling of another human being alive?
Yes.
Why is it that humans who are dying and struggling excite you? That's being in a bad place.
Thank you. You've said it. There's this glorified suffering, and it's instilled in women from a very early age. You know how?
Yeah.
Let me give you an example, Christabel. At some point in our lives, we could not sit at the sitting room and just be idle without hearing mom's footsteps and looking for something to do, because God forbid
you're found
your idol.
Yeah.
Glorify suffering. I mean, take a moment, do nothing. Observe yourself, do things for yourself. You don't have to be a busybody to have impact on anyone or anything.
Yeah.
You're busy being busy, which is an escapism. It's, my God, we'll do another session.
But guys, I hope we're coming to the end of our conversation, but I hope we painted the energy, the life, the drive and the passion that converts to what we like to call independence.
Yes.
And I hope the next time you meet, you think of yourself as an independent woman. You don't feel that impulse to go like, oh, let me explain. But no, I'm not very independent. No, that's not me. You don't fall into that trap. You actually embrace it and you say, yes, I am an independent woman because I have a lot of passion. And this is what I'm passionate about. It gives me drive. It gives me energy. It gives me motivation. And yes, that is where my independence comes from.
Yes.
So really paint independence for what it is.
Yes.
Because I think we are built from birth to be independent.
Yes.
And also independence, think of it as the tool that is going to empower you to identify the people that can add real value to your life. As a
Yes.
woman, something will look valuable because you're lacking. When you're in a position of lack, everything is valuable. You know, when you're hungry, all the food tastes awesome.
Yes.
When you're full, you kind of, you eat it and you're like, I'm not sure I like this, you know. But when you're hungry, you like
You'll
everything.
take whatever.
Yeah. So that is really what independence gives you. It empowers you. It empowers you to see value for what value is. So I think we need to carry that positivity in us.
Yes.
And I'd encourage the men interacting with women. Independence is not a threat. Independence is a woman who is passionate, who is creating things for herself, and who is creating what she loves with the universe. And it's giving her a feeling of aliveness. So if you're not attracted to aliveness, friend, I think you need to go and do some deep personal work. You really need to go and do
soul searching.
You need to do some soul searching and some soul alignment. I mean, we know as humans we become sick. It will really be psychotic that you love people who are sick and ill.
Yeah.
We love
And
people when they're
broken.
healthy, when they're beaming, when they're shining, you know, and that should inspire the same feeling in you. So I really think when, you know, if you're a man and you're listening and you meet an independent woman, you should recognize that as passion. Perhaps approach it with curiosity. That's what I can say.
Yes.
What gives you all this passion? What gives you all this life? What gives you this feeling that you have? Where does that come from? And why does that excite you? And when you find what excites people, you don't become excited about the same thing, but it makes you think about what excites you yourself, you know?
Yeah.
And I think with independent people, and especially independent women, we really have a richer universe to live in.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
So that will be my parting shot. And I always think about it in terms of, you know, the role that we play. In Kenya, we are about 51 million people, and we have like 50-50 split between men and women. So imagine
really?
Okay. It's really
That's
kind of almost
interesting.
50-50, like 52, 48,
Yeah, that's
something
close
like
enough.
that. Yeah,
Wow.
very close. And imagine if half of the humans in the country were waiting for the other half to feed and clothe them. Where will the country be? So just think about it economically.
Yes.
If all of us women agreed and said, nah, we are all going to stay and take care of the children
That's
and wait for the men.
socialism on another scale.
That is half of the country
Yeah.
waiting for the half to generate money
Yeah.
and drive the entire country. Where will the economy be?
Not practical.
Right. So if you're really not inspired about this in terms of human connection, then think about it economically. You know, if you're a human who loves growth, who loves development,
Yes.
who loves moving forward,
Yes.
you'd really definitely embrace the idea of independence.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So thank you guys. Tell us what you think about this episode. It was nice having you. It was nice having you,
Thank
Celwyn.
you so much. I had
So
fun.
much passion.
I had so much fun.
passion. And let us know what we didn't talk about that we should talk about next time.
Oh, yeah.
I think there was a lot that
Oh,
went
yeah.
into the packing. And what other different topics we should go into,
Exactly.
right?
I love that.
There were so many other topics around it that I could feel and that I could see. But then until next time, you take care of your health and your wealth and you form healthy connections.
Period.
Party shot.
That's on period.
Thank you.